regarding the mental illnesses, especially, I wanted to go here a little bit deeper. Can astrology help us to actually see, mental disorders and mental issues that somebody would be prone to, or, different transits that may indicate a hard time on our psyche?
Yeah. So one of the things that I mean, you touched on this a little bit, but I I think we really get into trouble when we all agree that there is a normal out there, because there really isn't. And so somebody who might have a deficit in one area is going to have a strength in another area. That's just across the board. I believe that. And so, somebody when somebody is coloring a little bit outside the lines in some kind of mental capacity, a lot of people tend to label. In psychology, we call it pathologizing, where you turn something that's normal, just like a personality trait, into a pathology, or, some like an illness, like something's an illness. So somebody with some really strong Gemini placements might get labeled ADD when they're a kid, or like ADHD or something like that. However, if you have really strong Gemini placements, you have an insane ability to multitask. You're doing everything, you're interested in multiple things, like, you're looking here, you're looking there. And so somebody who's able to really harness that power of duplicity, like being able to do one thing with one hand and one thing with the other hand, that is absolutely amazing and a superpower. However, when you're in second grade in school and you have this superpower and you don't know what to do with it, you could, get labeled ADHD, get put on medication, have to go see a school psychologist, all these things. Likewise with Pisces, they have this propensity for depression and addiction and, all these things where people are like, they're one of the signs that gets hated on. And but their superpower is the ability to hold space for the bittersweetness of life, where it's like that ache when somebody leaves, to like go on an airplane or something, where you're like, I'm so happy for them. They're going off and doing what they should be doing in the world, but I ache for me. That's a happy moment. It's not a sad moment. And Pisces are able to feel moments like that better than anybody else. And so, like, if a Pisces is just crying at a sunset because it's just so beautiful and they're just, really savoring the moment because it's going to be gone in 2 seconds. And that's like a bittersweet moment there. If they are just sitting in that, people are like, dude, why is this person always crying? Like, it's insane, but it's not that they're depressed or they struggle with depression. It's they're able to sink into moments like that better than anybody else. And, somebody with a strong Cancer placement, like a Cancer moon or something like that, people might call them sensitive and, like they don't really have a spine, like they're just, too soft, too sensitive. But they have a greater capacity for empathy than anybody else. They can look at a person and know exactly how they're feeling and jump into that situation and, be that mother bear where they're like coming in being like, I'm going to take care of everything. And so it's like any disorder you have, any deficit you have, you can look in the chart and actually see that it's a superpower in another area. Like, someone with a Cancer moon might not be really good at certain professions, but they're going to be absolutely amazing at other professions. So I think it's just really important to realize, not only are you okay, like we're all in this circle somewhere. You're okay. You're meant to be where you are. But also, how is that deficit or how is that area actually a superpower? Because I think we're just walking around with a ton of them, and everybody has this guilt and shame and insecurity, like I'm not like everybody else. And, one thing that I think it's so important to remember is we all have that to some degree. And the people who don't are actually psychopaths. Like that's part of it is having no shame, no self-consciousness or anything like that. Like that's the real illness. And so if you're feeling self-conscious, if you're feeling like you're a little bit different, like yes, sink into those moments where you have like self-acceptance and learn as much about yourself as possible and all those things, but like actually genuinely not caring, that's like that's its own illness. So like it's totally fine to um just to be who you are and like appreciate who you are. And I mean that's one thing that in my readings, and I'm sure you're the same, is like just bringing to the table exactly who you are, seeing everything that you are, knowing that you are that way on purpose and not trying to change it, not trying to, pull your planets out of Gemini because you just really hate the idea of being scattered and chaotic and like all those things, but like really sinking into that and realizing that that was given to you for a reason.